Nowadays, there's a bunch of ways that people can stay active. Personally, I've been climbing for around 5 months now, and I usually go around 2 to 3 times a week. I also hit the gym every now and again, and occasionally go for a run when I feel like it. Now, despite all of that, I still wasn't super happy with my weight. I lost a few pounds since I started climbing, but not as much as I had hoped. I didn't feel leaner or more energized overall. I kind of felt stuck. And that's when I started to think maybe I needed to start doing more, moving more, being more active overall. And that's when the 10,000 steps a day idea kind of hit me. So I wanted to see what would happen if I went all in and walked 10,000 steps a day for 30 days straight. And so day 1 starts now. Where does the 10,000 steps a day come from? Well, a fun little fact, it actually comes from a marketing slogan. And it was used for a pedometer in Japan in the 1960s as a marketing slogan. It was just very catchy and it just kind of stuck around. But for the average person, around 7,000 to maybe about 9,000 steps a day is plenty for a healthy lifestyle. So a few metrics that I want to get is to weigh myself and take my blood pressure, which is what we're on our way to do right now. I was pretty surprised with the results of the blood pressure.
Whoa.
I wonder if it's because we walked.
Yeah. Testing.
Which was a little bit worrisome. I decided to kind of read the instructions a little bit better and do a second test.
Now it's normal.
That's definitely something I'm gonna have to look out for and be careful with, is I guess my blood pressure. So hopefully we end up seeing a difference from day 1 to day 30. Hopefully, lose a little bit of weight and my pressure goes down. Right now, this is 174. If we take this right here, 174.06. The first few days were actually kind of exciting. Hitting 10K felt easy. I was hype, motivated. I thought, this won't be so hard. Then the real world started to kick in. By day 3, I had just finished dinner, sat down on the couch, checked my step counter, only got 6,000 steps. It was already 9 p.m. I stared at the number for a few minutes and went for a walk on my treadmill.
3,000 steps away from making 10,000. And completely dark outside, but was kind of hell-bent on getting 10K every single day. So we're gonna work on getting that.
So what I started realizing is that taking 10,000 steps a day isn't physically hard, but it's very time consuming. And it's even harder if you're working on a desk and especially when you're working from home. Usually by the afternoon, if I'm lucky, I'm gonna get between 800 to 1,000 steps. So when I finish my workday, I have to go and do 9,000 steps in a very long walk. That was just a bit too much for me. So what I learned early on in this experiment is I really needed to start sneaking in more steps daily without going on these hour to 2 hour walks. Probably noticed that I'm not walking right now. I'm unweighted. And I had a really good idea that what I can do is I can actually, let's say in the morning, I ride to work, and then that evening I go and I just walk. So the goal is to, ride one direction, walk the other direction, and kind of switch it up every day. I think that's going to be a much better time convenient way of getting those 10,000 steps in. Another thing that I started doing was to take stairs. Now, both at home and at work, I have the option to take an elevator, but I decided to start taking the stairs for the extra step counts. I also started to gamify my steps and tried to find as many ways as possible to move around. And that included doing chores around the house, pacing around while in meetings, and a simple rule that I added is that if it's within an hour walk, whether it was for groceries, seeing a friend, or just getting food, I stopped using my car or my one wheel and would just simply walk there. Little things like that added up fast and made the whole process a lot easier. Day 10 already. a third of the way in the challenge. Honestly, I feel great. I feel more energized. I feel like my step has a little bit more bounce. Overall, I'm really enjoying the challenge. Now, one thing that I really started to appreciate is problem solving as I'm walking. These moments of quiet, this moment of like serenity is really, really nice. And you just kind of get lost in your own thought bubbles. And it kind of reminds me of like the whole, how do you get your ideas? And a lot of it is often by doing nothing. Yeah, that's a nice little thing that I'm really appreciating from these walks. All right, this is end of day 10. I have definitely overdone it today. I walked to work. I had about 7,000 steps in the morning before I even started the day. We had a shoot. We were, pretty active, moving around a lot during the day. Then I went for a walk. We went grocery shopping and everything. I am now at 17,000 steps for the day. I'm feeling pretty exhausted, pretty tired. My heel hurts.
You're gonna put that online for free?
Yeah, I gotta show the progress, so yeah. But yeah, this is end of day 10. I'm pretty beat, and I think I'm just gonna go to bed. I was quite surprised how I started to feel significantly better after just a few days. At about day 10 to day 15, that's when I started to feel the best results. My body felt less stiff, my legs had more bounce, and my mood just generally improved. It's like being outside just made a huge difference and allowed me to disconnect from the screens and from work and from the stress of life and kind of just focus on me and my breathing for an hour or so. I started to really enjoy the time I spent outside. I'd walk down the streets of my neighborhood, explore new places that I never went to. Walking for me kind of became this weird mix of therapy and mindfulness, and just made me really appreciate the time I could spend outdoors. So on day 21, I decided to hit you guys with a few extra fun facts, because as I've been walking over the last 21 days, I've been doing a lot of research on just the health benefits of walking. Now, there's a really interesting study from the University of Sydney and the University of Denmark that had a study of about 78,000 people. They noticed that the sweet spot was actually 9,800 steps, which kind of had the best health benefits, reducing dementia by 50%, as well as reducing the risk of cancer, high blood pressure, and also just extending life expectancy. And here's the cool part, extending by 2,000 steps daily actually lowered their chances of dying early by 11%. But there's more to just that specific number. Now, walking faster gave a lot more health benefits, and so the pace in which you walk at actually matters. So if you were thinking about skipping that walk today, maybe reconsider. Now, it doesn't need to be 10,000 steps a day right away, but you'll eventually get there. And you know what? Your future self will thank you.
All right, so what did 30 days of walking actually do for me? Well, enough talking about how I feel, let's take a look at the metrics. On average, I walked a little bit more than 10,000 steps a day. Some days were barely 10,000 and some days were up to 20,000, where I ended up walking a lot on that specific day. Also, a really nice thing is my blood pressure went down just a little bit, not a big difference. And overall, I went down from 174 pounds down to 169. And the crazy thing is, the only thing that I changed was the amount of steps that I was taking in a day. I ate the same food and continued to go climbing twice a week. Now, the question you've probably asked yourself the entire video is, will I continue to walk 10,000 steps a day? Is it something I'm going to keep doing forever? I probably don't think so. I think 10,000 steps a day, depending on your lifestyle, can be a bit much. If you're in a small town and need your car to go literally everywhere, or you work in an office long hours a day, it can be very difficult to get 10,000 steps a day. So for me, yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep trying to get 10,000 steps a day. But if some days I fall between 7,500 to maybe 9,000, I'll be okay with that. At the end of the day, it's not really about that specific number, but it's about having a more active and healthier lifestyle. So would I recommend you guys doing this challenge? Absolutely. I think if you're able to aim for 10,000, that's great. If you do a little less, between 7,000 to 9,000, that's also completely okay. I think if you're able to commit to doing something every day, it's going to be so rewarding, not only physically, because you're probably gonna lose a little bit of weight, but I think overall you're going to feel so much better, both physically and mentally. I think the best part of it is that it's so easy. You don't need a gym membership, you don't need any special gear, you can just go out. All it's gonna take is your time and a little bit of commitment on your part. I had so much fun doing this challenge. This was a huge blast. I really feel better by doing it. So if you have any challenge recommendations, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear of other 30-day challenge that I could do and that you guys would like to see. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Definitely like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.